So, hey, I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of laughing the last day or so of everybody being like, oh my god, he was a valedictorian? I think I have mentioned it on stream once before, but I don't know. I was just trying to think about a fact about myself that would fool people, you know? See, and it's so funny because everybody's like, that makes a lot of sense, but why? I don't know. It's kind of hilarious. I don't remember saying that I was the valedictorian either. I just remember saying that I had a high GPA. Which one about me is true?
Okay.
So, let's get started.
Nice.
True lies.
A. When I graduated from school, I had the highest GPA. So, I was the valedictorian of my graduating class. B. I have a black belt in Taekwondo.
What?
And C. I once had the opportunity to be on a reality TV show, that of which I will not name, but I turned it down. Which do you think it is? Look at this nerd. Me, the nerd. No, man, here's the thing. I don't talk about it because, I don't know. It felt unearned. It felt unearned. It really did. It reminds me of the clip of people freaking out over you doing basic math. Nah, for real. For real. I don't know what that was about either. People were like, oh my god, he did that so quick. And I'm like, dude. I'm like, dude. It is not that serious. I guess I haven't talked about it. I was at first so look, I'll say this. My first initial problem and why I didn't go out right to say that is mainly because valedictorians, for those that don't know, it's not something you think about until you realize, oh yeah, that does make sense. Valedictorians make up pretty much 1%, less than 1% of all students, basically. They don't make up a large portion of the student body across all schools, because obviously there can only be one valedictorian per graduating class. So it wasn't something that I wanted to be quick to talk about, because, you know, I was just worried that maybe some way, somehow, someone would find out. But I realized, even though valedictorians make up less than 1% of, all students in existence, unless you went to, unless you looked up and searched up all graduating classes in the last, you'd have to cover a wide margin, you know? Because, I'm Gen Z, so I guess you'd have to assume that it'd at least be within the last, decade or so, you know? And then you have to look up all of them, see which ones have videos for you to access, and then you'd have to listen to every single speech and be like, oh, I recognize that voice. I recognize that voice, you know? And who's doing all that? Who's doing all that? So, let's be so honest, you know? Unk is Z? Don't call me Unk. We've been over this. There's some crazy people out there, never doubt. I mean, hey, look, honestly, if you found out that I was valedictorian and you searched all through multiple schools to find the exact video, and you scoured through thousands, potentially tens of thousands, because there's a lot of freaking schools in this world, dude. There's a lot of schools. Search through thousands of graduation videos, and you managed to find me. At this point, you deserve to know. You know, I applaud you. That's some dedication. It's not like I said I went to a convention and was dressed a certain way. You know, then you can just look around some pictures, you know, through a thing. That'd be a really weak way. That'd be a really weak dox. But if you did all that, you searched through all the schools and found me, I'm like, you deserve it, dog. You just deserve to know. You deserve to be in the know. Do you even remember your speech? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I probably made a couple of puns there. Yeah, no, I was a funny guy. I was a bit of a class clown, but I was also a bit of an outcast. I feel like you have to be valedictorian to some degree. I don't know. School's just always been one of those things that kind of came naturally to me. I feel like I've talked about this before. School benefits a very particular type of mind. It benefits a very particular mind. And not everybody can function in that type. It's a very standardized setting, you know? It's very standardized. And I just have a brain that benefits from that kind of environment. Some people don't, though. You'd think that I wouldn't, considering I'm an artist and I'm a creative individual, but I don't know. I guess that's just how I work. True. Part of it is having a very good memory, yes, and I did indeed have a good memory. For example, I guess a great way to give an example is this one's kind of silly, and it's more of a flex than anything. but it's also really silly. It's partially good memory, but it's also like, dang, Vanta, how much time did you have on your hands? Did you like have friends growing up? And the answer is kind of, but that's beside the point. One of the silly things that I would do is, you know, when you're studying for a final or a midterm, sometimes your teacher / professor often gives you a study guide, you know, or a syllabus. Just a kind of a breakdown, a summary of what's going to be on the test, because it's such an important test. So they give you kind of like a breakdown of a more specific line of content that will appear on the exam. So in my case, you know, a lot of people, what they would do is they'd cram, they'd wait till the last minute, or because of the way their brains work, they have to come up with very specific ways to study. You know, some people are auditory learners, some people are visual learners, some people work well with flashcards, some people need to be taught something, some people need to hear it out loud, some people need to see like a diagram. Everybody has a different way, you know, to work, right? Well, the thing is that with me, my logic was, if you know everything, you can't know nothing. And that sounds obvious, but that's what I would do. So instead of finding a method to study, I would just read everything. I would just read it all. So I would reach a point where I no longer had to have study guides. I would simply read. I would read through the study guide that was provided, and I would memorize the study guide. So I could study with nothing in front of me. I would completely just memorize the entire content. And that's just kind of what I would do. So school was just, you know, so I don't really talk about it because it's not really something that I had to particularly work hard for, you know? I was like, if I just know everything, then I can't possibly fail. So I would just read everything and just learn it all. And I'd be like, yep, I know this. Yep, I know this. So I would just be in the car, at home, doing nothing. And I'd just be studying. I'd just be doing my thing. And I'd just be studying in my head because I memorized not only the answers to the questions, but I also memorized the questions themselves. So I was able to quiz myself in my brain because I just memorized it all. And I know what you're saying. Some of you are saying like, oh, wow, my God, he's so smart. He's so like big brain. And really, it's not. I just have good memory. It's literally just memory. That's what I'm saying. Like I had a brain that benefited from the very standardized setting of school. Other people have different kinds of intelligence, but mine's is very straightforward and straight-laced. I think that's why the way that I behave can come off a little bit silly. That's why it didn't really surprise me when a lot of people didn't immediately jump to like, oh yeah, no, he was definitely the valedictorian. I did. Some people are just like, oh man, Venta's gonna be insulted. None of you guys are standing on A, you know? And I wasn't. I haven't have I told any of the livers? I don't know if I've told them. What about subjects that need practicing, like math or physics? Math or physics? I mean, it's similar in principle. Once you learn the formulas, you just plug them into different problems and then you're done. Now, if you're asking me, could I do like that kind of math now? Probably not, because I don't practice it and I don't remember a lot of things. But, you know, I kind of just remember stuff. Right now, I think the most important, valuable skill that I have is basic math and then, you know, English, the ability to break down and understand different verbs and word forms. Listening to the stream of Mayoshi flexing about his big brain and being smart, I'm jealous. I'm not. I wouldn't call academic intelligence, I don't know. I feel like academic intelligence is harsh. I won't say it's the lowest form of intelligence, but I wouldn't judge it very high. I wouldn't place it very highly on the scale. Because just because you're good at school doesn't mean that you're an intelligent individual. You know what I mean? Because you can, there's the skills that are required to do really, really well in school don't often transfer to the real world. I think the only useful skills that you gain in school are reading comprehension. You know, if you pay attention in your English class or your language class, reading comprehension is important. And your ability to analyze text, you know, and read through the lines. That reading comprehension is an important skill that you learn in school, or that you should learn in school, I should say. Another really important skill that applies to the real world is your ability to convey a point, your ability to properly explain yourself. If you can express your point of view or thoughts or a belief system or whatever, your ability to express something, and your ability to express something effectively and accurately, those are skills that I feel like come from being in school, or that you can get from being in school. However, you could also just kind of cruise. That's why I don't really put much stock in being valedictorian. It's not. That's why you don't hear me mention it. Like, why am I talking about that? It doesn't even make up me. It's such a small aspect of me. Exactly, critical thinking skills. Like, there are people that are doing really well in school, but then you throw them into the real world and they're cooked. And they are cooked because they lack that basic wisdom and basic knowledge. Street smarts, if you will. Yeah, exactly. That's why I just don't think having a high GPA or being valedictorian really even means anything. Because, like, who cares? You know? It's literally the equivalent of being buff. I think a lot of people think that being buff is going to get you a lot of places and that it's going to benefit you in so many ways. But really, the only thing it should benefit you is just improving your self-confidence. Just like with school. But it's not going to actually, you know, greatly increase your chances at doing XYZ thing. Because, you know, outside of what? Very specific careers and I guess bringing groceries from the car to the house, in what way is being strong going to benefit you? And I guess some very niche circumstances. What is that gonna help you, you know? Like, literally, me walking into a room and going, hey guys, I was valedictorian, is the exact same thing as somebody walking into a room and going, yo, I can bench 315. You know, like, people are gonna be like, oh, that's impressive, and then that's it. You move on. So you're the neighbor's kid? What does that mean? Being fit and active is always better than not. No, you're correct. I'm not saying that that's not the case, but I'm saying, like, it's not important. I'm just trying to explain to you and rationalize why I just don't talk about it and why it's not come up before this. I just wanted to come up with a fact about myself that I thought was confusing enough, and I feel like I got a lot of people. You're the neighbor's kid that parents compare other kids to? See, the thing is that I would say that. The problem is that I don't go outside. So, like, I think the benefit of having me as a neighbor is that you don't have to worry about your parents comparing you to me, because your parents wouldn't know that I existed. Unless your parents talked to my parents or something, and then my parents just decided to mention, oh yeah, our son was the valedictorian. Your parents aren't gonna know that I'm even there. They're gonna be like, who's that? Who's Vanta? What? And you're gonna be like, Vanta, you know? Anything that your parents knew about me, it's because you told them. It's certainly not because they know I exist. You see, Vanta, he was valedictorian. It's not even that important. It's not even that important. Nobody even cares. Nobody cares. It's just brownie points right now. Everybody's like, yo, Vanta's kind of smart. He's kind of big brain. That forehead's not just for show. It's literally all it's gonna do is just give people more room to play tic-tac-toe on my forehead.